I'm curious, what was it you had to maybe think differently about as you made that shift from engineering into sales? Is there something to that to really connect with the customer?
What I noticed early on in the transition was that there were some customers who had specific questions, and the sales guy wouldn't necessarily have the answer.
Sure.
So it delays the process. And I thought, if I could answer these questions right now in this meeting, maybe this guy will make a decision today. I've always believed that information to the customer, to the end user, is going to be key in a successful sales career. I've had tremendous success doing it. And over the years, I've seen it happen in different companies. And at one point, they were calling them sales engineers.
Sure.
Because now they were sending engineers out to go sell, because they're educated. They're giving the customer the information that he's asking for right there on the spot, and they're closing deals. That's the one thing that I think will make the difference.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers podcast, brought to you by the Allred Group. I'm your host, Matt Allred. When talent is mission critical, call the Allred Group. With industry expertise, top talent, and exceptional customer service, you need the Allred Group on your side. Your priority is our priority. Call now, 404-890-0445. In this episode, I sat down with Ricky Williams, a seasoned elevator industry leader whose career spans engineering, sales, business development, and executive leadership. Ricky is currently serving as Vice President of Business Development and Sales at ESI. Over the years, he's built a reputation for combining technical knowledge with a practical, people-centered leadership style. Ricky's perspective is shaped by decades of hands-on industry experience and a strong belief that understanding both people and field operations is key to long-term success.
Ricky, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt.
You bet. I appreciate you being here. Always enjoyed the conversation. I'm looking forward to talking with you. More about your career. Tell me what you're doing right now.
So my current role is business development VP, business development and sales. Lately, I've been dabbling in some of the projects that we're working on here at ESI. Getting involved with some of the engineering, not to the level that I used to back in the days, but more of a advisory type role while we design products and look at what the market needs and which direction we should go. So as a team, we have these meetings and kind of put the whole thing together, and the engineering team then takes it from there and do their thing.
Nice. I mean, you got your hands full, right? I know you're traveling a good bit. You're in executive leadership, but you're also responsible for sales, business development, and so it's a lot.
Correct. And these are all things that I've enjoyed, all my career. From the engineering part of it to the sales part of it, building business development. Today it's all one thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's cool. So let's talk a little bit, early career. I know you started on the engineering side. You've obviously worked up into executive leadership. What did you learn early on in the field that most executives in this industry miss?
The first thing was people. People have personalities, and in order to manage people successfully, you got to know the personality. And I see this is where there's a lot of myths, not just in our industry, but everywhere. Management don't take the time to understand the people working for them. And, it's things aren't as efficient as there could be. But, so I learned this later on, and it changed the way I managed, and you could see the successes coming from that knowledge.
Nice. Well, yeah, as you can connect with the people, you really get more from them, right? They're more bought in and
Correct.
You care. Correct. And yeah, that's awesome. And obviously you've done engineering, fieldwork, sales, yeah, business development. Where do you see the biggest disconnect between those groups today?
Well, one thing that I've always noticed, the guys in the field, they really determine the products that are used. A lot of sales or business development folks, when they go out, they try to go see the wrong people. And you'll have a conversation with someone in the office, and it's a great conversation, and look like you're heading in the right direction. But if the technical guys touching, installing, servicing the product aren't in sync with what your product is offering them, then of course, it's not going to work, because the guy in the field is giving feedback to his office. Time wise, I'm installing this in half the time. This group is easier to deal with. I get better support from this group. Those type of feedback determine what product is used. So I think that's where there continues to be a disconnect. Not as big as back in the day, but it's still there. And I think once people close the loop on that, they'll see different results.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It's
Mm.
obviously you've been around through the evolution of computerized controls and now advanced monitoring. What would you
Right.
say has changed the most, and what's still surprisingly stuck in the past?
What surprised me is that we haven't done more with technology in terms of giving more information to end users, service companies. And so it is happening. It's not like it's not happening, but it hasn't happened at the pace that I thought it could have happened, because we have data from these systems, and for a long time we did nothing with it. And it's just in recent years, with IoT and so on, that people are saying, by the way, hey, can we get this from your system? Can we see this? And companies are now saying, oh yeah, we could do that, and they're sending that type of detail.
So it's
So
really
yeah,
coming from the customer? Is that what you're saying?
it,
The customer's kind of demanding it?
it is,
Hmm.
and not just customers. Consultants are a big
Sure.
part of it. In fact, we're working with consultants that say, "Hey, I'd like to see this
Hmm.
from your technology. Can you do this?" And we can, and we have. In fact, we just said, "Hey, provide me a list of what you'd like to see, and we'll incorporate it in our product."
Nice.
And that's one of the things we've been doing, just to make their lives easier. It's going to be easier for them to say, I want that product because it's doing what I need.
Right.
And I'm getting the information from it as I need it. So we are doing that, and it will continue to evolve as you move forward.
For sure. For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a conversation, I don't know, 6, 8 months ago, and the gentleman was telling me that as far as that data goes, and the kind of the customers are demanding it, that we're probably, as an industry, about 10 years behind other
Yeah.
industries, whether it's
Correct.
power generation or maybe even HVAC. What do you think's behind that?
There's a couple of things going on. Back in the 90s, we had this information. No one was asking for a building management system to receive this data. Elevator systems were seen as something separate. Today, people are looking at their facilities, their building, as one complete thing, including elevators. And I'd like to see all the information in it. And as we educate end users on the capabilities of products, they're asking for these things, and they should. I think people make better decisions when they know what they're working with. They know your product, what the capabilities are. They'll make better decisions, and that's what we try to do. So you'll see little things in our sales brochure, our sales material. We're trying to do that. We offer, not just classes to mechanics, but meetings with end users to educate them on the capabilities of the products that they're using every day and how it could simplify their lives. People used to, when something breaks, say an airport facility or even a college campus, elevator breaks. The remote monitoring was someone telling someone else, and it get it back to the
Sure.
facilities, and it would take days. Today, as it happened, real time, someone is getting it on their cell phone or on their PC. They're getting notified, and technology supports this. So why aren't we doing more of this?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. And I mean, obviously, you're working on and with and interacting and integrating with state of the art monitoring systems. How close would you say are we to really true predictive maintenance?
Oh, we're there. It's just I think the various companies, eh, the interests of those companies in incorporating it, but that's what we're doing. The more information I could push out to you
Mhm.
or I could make available to you, the better it's going to
Do you feel
be.
like it's able to really predict, hey, your machine's going to go down, or I mean, I don't know what all is monitored, but I'm just curious how, is it truly predictive where we can say, hey, this motor's about to blow because of the temperature.
Exactly. So, in the old days, you would give a percentage of end of life. If it's a million cycles, and
You just
you
count the
get,
cycles and go from there.
yeah,
Okay.
and before it ends, you say, hey, I think you should replace this thing. It's getting to end of life. Today, you could measure different pieces, different
Mm,
parts of the equipment and know when it's about to fail. So as I said, the technology is there. We could do these things. It costs money. So,
for sure.
that's something that's going to delay it, budgets and so on. But the technology's there.
I think what I'm hearing you say is not everybody's going to have it, right? Because they haven't invested, or maybe it's too big of an investment for them.
Right.
So, yep,
Correct.
that
Correct.
makes sense. Yeah. Um, so, I mean, if you could sit down with every building owner or property manager, what's one thing about elevators or escalators you wish they understood?
So one big thing that's always come up, and I've been to a lot of meetings and expectation of end of life. When should I modernize this thing? And everybody has their own opinion, whether it's 10 years, 15 years. But one thing I've learned, if I was a building owner, I'd like my equipment to last as long as I need to keep it running. And this is where things differ between companies, because here where I am, we have product running 40 years, you know, trouble free. In fact, when it finally has an issue, it's something that's obsolete because it's so old. And the decision is easy at that point. Hey, I want another one of those, current model, of course. But I'd like building owners to understand that you can put a product in your building that will run, that will keep your traffic flowing as they're designed and get the job done. Too many products out there are not seem to be built in the same manner. They don't see it the same. They look at it as, okay, this will last 10 years. I'll do the next one in 10 years and just keep things going. But I think if people are happy with your product, they'll want it in their building.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am curious. I mean, and I'm a little bit of I don't know, I consider myself a little ignorant, as far as, because I've not ridden on car tops and haven't, been in that space as much. But what is it that usually says, hey, it's time to modernize, right? Because you got a controller and you got the, all the parts in the shaftway and the cars and motors and everything. And I hear people say, well, we don't call it a mod until we replace the controller, even
Right.
though, technically you could replace the whatever, the car and a bunch of other things and say, well, no, it's
Right.
not a mod. I'm just curious, what is it? What part, what component is it? Is it electronic? Is it mechanical that finally says, all right, it's time. Let's
It
go with
could
it.
be either or. or all the above. It all depends the problem it's creating for that building. If a car is shutting down every day, it's a controller problem or a door problem. It's going to be a nuisance enough where someone is going to say, "Wait a minute, we need to take a look at what's happening here. Do we need to do something?" And then you have mini mods where you just replace failed components. Someone may look and say, you know what, your machine is fine. You could get another 20 years out of that, no problem. So obviously that's going to stay in place, and we'll probably replace a controller and the door equipment, and other pieces, of course, ropes and so on, if you have a different type of problem. So it all depends. And this is why you have these guys go out and survey to determine the health of the system and what needs to be replaced. For most people, you're going to do something. Hey, let's look at the controller. Let's see if we could get some more technology in here. And they go that direction. So typically when they do a mod, controller is coming in. They determine what else comes with it based on the health of the other equipment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Obviously, your career is a little unique because you started in engineering and you understand how engineers think, and
Mhm.
then you're in sales and business development. I'm curious what was it you had to maybe think differently about as you made that shift from engineering into sales? Is there something to that to really connect with the customer?
No, well, what I noticed early on in the transition was that there were some customers who had specific questions, and the sales guy wouldn't necessarily have the answer. So it delays the process. And I thought, you know what, if I could answer these questions right now in this meeting, maybe this guy will make a decision today, or maybe it'll understand enough where he said, "Nah, I want this thing." And I've always believed that information to the customer, to the end user, is going to be key in a successful sales career. So I've done that. I've had tremendous success doing it, and over the years, I've seen it happen in different companies. And at one point, they were calling them sales engineers because now they were sending engineers out to go sell because they're educating. They're giving the customer the information that he's asking for right there on the spot, and they're closing deals. So that's the one thing that I think will make the difference.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what for you, it wasn't so much I need to think differently. It's I just need to bring what knowledge I have and be able
Correct.
to address whatever concern the customer, because they're going to have a lot of questions. But if I can bring that knowledge and they're now at ease, well, then they're ready to sign on the dotted line and we can move
Absolutely.
forward.
Absolutely.
Ricky, you've worked with major companies, you worked with smaller, more agile environments. What would you say are the real pros and cons of consolidation in the industry?
And when you say consolidation, you're talking about,
Acquisitions and
acquisitions and
sure,
so
yeah,
on. Acquisitions are good. It allows us the finance, put it that way, to do the things that we need to do to produce a better product. Um, in a small company environment, sometimes budget isn't the same, and things we'd like to do. Now you have two different list of items we will do, items we would like to do, and we go through the list. In a large company, the decision is made a little different. But the acquisitions on a whole, like it's kind of like a recycling of these companies, because they absorb them, but every now and again, somebody pops out and starts something again. So it never really goes away. The cycle just keeps going. And I've been through a few of them, and I've enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be kind of the circle of life in this
Yes.
industry, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody said to me once, every time one company is acquired, two more pop up.
That's right. That's right. Because there's always a guy that says, "Hey, I want to be my own boss," and he jumps
Sure.
out and he does it.
Yeah, or I've got an idea that they're not going to let me do, and so let me
Right.
bring some more
Exa-
innovation in. Yeah, very cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And having led organizations as president and VP, what would you say is one leadership mistake that you made that changed how you manage today?
There's one in particular. So as leaders, we want to think that we know best. We know what we should be doing and so on. And earlier on, I never relied on my team, my support team, to share their view, their vision. And but of course, over time, that has been corrected. But that was one thing. I would always say, all right, this is what we should be doing, but never allowed my team to mold it or make it into the thing that's going to drive us forward. And I always look back at those days. What should I have done different? You know.
Yeah, was there ever a light bulb moment where it's like, oh, where it just kind of came into focus for you,
Oh
or was it
yeah,
over time?
yeah. And not that long after, because one of the things I did back, during the initial days, was dialogue,
Hmm.
talk to the people just to make sure we're all on the same page. And over time, you realize, well, that idea could really enhance what I'm thinking here. Let's explore it.
Yeah.
And that's when the light bulb kind of went off.
Cool, cool. And I've noticed that even in my own business, right? That if sometimes I'll stress out my employees, and I'm like, okay, I did something, I said something, maybe I'm pushing too hard, maybe I'm expecting something that's not reasonable, and it's taken a few iterations of
Right.
pausing, listening. Okay,
Yeah.
what did I do this time, right?
Exactly. And sometimes you don't get it right away. You walk away and it's in your hair. You say, let me go back to this. Yeah,
Yeah,
it happens.
yep, yep. All good. That's how we learn, right? So
Yep, absolutely.
it's good. So when you think of the future of vertical transportation, the technology, labor, customer expectations, what actually concerns you the most?
Yeah, the technology, of course, is going to move forward as technology evolve. Our industry doesn't use the technology uh, in its current state. We're cycles behind for the industry. But what I what I see happening is, AI is gonna it's gonna catch up. And I'd be surprised if like OEMs aren't already working on these things. In fact, we are exploring it. But at some point, there's gonna be an effect on labor, and I'm talking field labor, because with AI, the power that AI brings is now you could have a virtual person, a virtual entity monitor your system, your elevator equipment, and tell you what's broken. Probably the only thing it won't be able to do is turn a screw and say, "Hey, this," but it's going to tell you. It's going to pinpoint issues. So I see that. So then the effect of that, I believe, will be you'll have less mechanics in places that we have them today, because there is a system in place that's keeping the equipment safe, keeping people safe by monitoring it. It detects a problem, it's gonna shut it down until a human arrives and conduct repairs. So that's kind of what I see coming with the technology we're entering right now, and with AI just fast forwarding, blasting across all planes. It's next.
Yeah,
Our
yeah,
industry is next.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you feel like the AI is a big change. It's big.
It's probably going to
Yeah.
be the biggest change we'll see, I think, in our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it's fully implemented.
Right. I hear you. So this question may be kind of the inverse of that same question, but I'm just, if we were to have this conversation in 5 to 10 years, what do you think will have changed? How will things look different in how things are built, maintained? I mean, you kind of spoke to that a little bit, but what would you expect to see?
But what I don't want to see is elevators becoming a commodity.
Hmm.
Someone is, there's no thought in it. But and it can advance to that level where you just order it online and you get it, and
Sure.
they're designed that way. If we put enough engineering in it, and that's something we look at as well. But you know, I still see that change coming. It's not gonna affect the manufacturing part of the business as much as the service side of the business. I think the impact will affect them a bit more. For us, we just determine, different ways of achieving the same thing. We come up with a product that's gonna achieve these results, and number one, it's gonna be safe, which I think a lot of people just gloss over. But that's where I see it heading, with AI, playing a big role at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we wrap up, if you were to look back at Ricky, years ago when you were just starting out, what advice would you give yourself, your younger self?
Yeah, it's funny because when I started, Jean-Pierre, who hired me, I remember him saying that, two types of engineers: the ones that come in and they stay with it, and the ones that come in realize what elevators are and say, I don't want to be a part of it, and they leave. Let's see in a few years which one you are, and
Yeah,
I'm still here.
sure.
But I think I probably would have said, hey, you did what you loved and you enjoyed it, I wouldn't change it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think it says a lot about what you've accomplished and that you found a place that you love to be. And it sounds like you're going to be here as long as you're
As long
able
as I'm
or want
healthy.
to, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the plan.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Ricky, thank you again. I appreciate you being with me today. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity to interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for offering this experience. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you for listening to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group, a leader in elevator industry recruiting. Please visit our YouTube channel at Elevator Careers or check us out online at elevatorcareers.net. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.